Pick your class and
earn your battle points.
Because it's time for the Star Wars Battlefront podcast.
This episode of the Star Wars Battlefront podcast is brought to you by our patrons on Patreon. Head over to patreon.com/Battlefront podcast to help support this show. We're also brought to you by our PayPal supporters, paypal.me/tie-dye-sheep, TYEDYESHEEP.
Welcome to episode 105 of the Star Wars Battlefront podcast. I'm your host, Sage Goodwin, joined by my brother and co-host, Sam Goodwin.
Hello.
In this episode, we'll be going over all of the Star Wars Battlefront 2 heroes and their abilities.
Let's get started.
Before we get started, I would like to remind everyone that we are doing a giveaway of the Battlefront 2 Standard Edition, and all you have to do is follow the link in the description of this podcast episode. It'll take you to a Gleam giveaway, sign up, and enter to win. Also, another thing I want to make everyone aware of, at the end of every episode, we like to promote the ways that you can contact us in any way, and we read every single bit of messages, whether that be on Twitter, reviews on iTunes, emails. We try to respond to every email that we get, try to respond to every comment on our YouTube channel. Just wanted to, if you want to contact us in any way, all you have to do is reach us on Twitter at SWBP podcast, email battlefrontpodcast@gmail.com, or just leaving a comment on our YouTube channel. Respond to and read everything that you all sent us. Now let's get started with the podcast episode. The first hero that we will be going over is Rey. Be courageous. An escapee from the wastes of Jakku, Rey wields a signature blue lightsaber and uses mind powers to control the battlefield. Her abilities are Dash Strike. Rey charges forward with her lightsaber held high, dealing damage to the enemies who dare stand in her way. Her second ability is Mind Trick. Rey causes nearby enemies to be dazed and confused for a brief period of time. Her third ability is Insight. Rey takes a moment to deeply sense her surroundings, revealing and highlighting all nearby enemies.
No shocker there. We already know about Rey. We've played her, and she's a pretty good hero.
Next, we have Darth Vader. Be feared. Anger fuels the dark side of the Force, and Vader's rage is nearly boundless. Darth Vader's abilities are Focused Rage. Darth Vader deals more damage and can absorb more punishment. Saber Throw. Vader hurls his lightsaber at his enemies. Force Choke. Vader uses his iconic Force Choke to lift damage and drop enemies.
So Darth Vader is a hero I've been wanting to see more of. Like, I know we saw the little clip of him for, the Battlefront little clips for different heroes that they've done frequently. And I just wanted to see how they would change him from Battlefront 2015. And from what I've seen and what I've heard, he feels more like Darth Vader.
Yeah.
And just mostly the huge difference is his Focused Rage. It was kind of like his trait in Battlefront 2015. So I'm excited to see that. It's kind of like the Wookiee roar for Darth Vader. And he is supposed to be a tank hero, so that's good. And in the trailer, I saw Darth Vader lift multiple enemies with his Force Choke.
Yes.
So that's going to be cool.
Next, we have Chewbacca. So, the website, as we are recording this, has not been updated to where it is a full layout of Chewbacca. So, I've did some research, and I've kind of got a breakdown of Chewbacca's abilities. He's got the shock grenade. Chewbacca throws a shock grenade that shocks enemies within a radius. He's got his Furious Blaster, or Furious Bowcaster. Chewie's Bowcaster enters into a rapid-fire explosive mode that tears through enemies. Then there's Charge Slam. Chewbacca breaks into a run and slams down, throwing all of his opponents to the side. This is kind of like a mix of his slam in Battlefront 2015. And if you don't know, in Battlefront 2015, Chewbacca had an ability, was what was it?
It was Ground Slam.
Ground Slam. As the name implies, you would activate this ability and you would slam onto the ground. It was pretty effective.
It was a good move.
And now they have the best description I can add is they've added Han Solo's shoulder charge with the charge slam, so Chewbacca runs forward and then slams onto the ground and just destroys everyone within a radius.
Yeah, so it's not as similar as some of the heroes we've seen from Battlefront 2015 to this game. I personally like Chewbacca is my best hero in Battlefront 2015. So I'm a big fan of Chewbacca as a whole. But I really miss the I forgot what it's called, but it doubles your bolts, whatever you have.
Yeah.
I think it was actually, if they ported what he was in Battlefront 2015 to this game, I'd be completely satisfied. So, I mean, I do like how it's rapid fire because the bowcaster is really slow.
Yeah, in the beta, it was like excruciatingly slow.
I just hope he doesn't, like when he activates that ability, it doesn't give him the cooldown property. So it's strictly fire as many as you can in a certain amount of time.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. It is taking his ability from 2015 and basically toning it down and adapting it to be a faster paced hero.
Which he needs because, to be honest, he's like the Darth Vader of the hero side.
Exactly. That is a very good description of what Chewbacca is.
I mean, Luke and Darth Vader are going to clash, but to be honest, if Darth Vader was a hero, he'd be Chewbacca.
Yes. He's got the tank qualities for that. Be daring. Han Solo. Han packs a tremendous punch at close range. His DL-44 can cause massive damage for short periods of time before overheating. Han Solo's abilities are Detonate Charge. Han throws a sticky explosive that can be detonated at will. His second ability is Sharpshooter. Han fires his blaster rapidly for a few seconds.
Emphasis on few.
Shoulder Charge. Han charges forward, knocking over and damaging the first enemy he hits.
I've discussed my feelings on Han Solo. I mean, in theory, his abilities sound good, but when you put it into the Battlefront...
I played Han Solo surprisingly well, since I barely played him in the original.
I know they're supposed to make the heroes more like troopers, but when you have because you're going to compare heroes versus a hero and villains regardless. So when I look at the heroes of the beta, which was Han Solo, and I look at Darth Maul, I'm just like, something is wrong here. He's completely underpowered just comparatively.
A better comparison would be Boba Fett and Han Solo.
Yeah, but overall the villains are just, from the beta, completely overpowered. And as I said in the earlier this episode, I know they're going to change it when Battlefront 2 comes out, but I have a feeling that Han Solo is going to stay the same because they don't really mess with him at all.
He basically needs just a little tweaking with his abilities, and I think he'd be fine.
Yeah, if you stay Han Solo the same and just nerf the overpowered villains, he'd be fine.
Exactly. Next, we have Darth Maul, Lord of the Sith. Be aggressive. Darth Maul's intimidating appearance and brutal elegance in battle strike fear into the hearts of even the bravest foes. Deadly and agile, Maul quickly closes the gap, striking with unrelenting speed. A force on the battlefront, Darth Maul's flashing blades are a threat to enemies matched only by his deadly mastery of the Force. His three unique character abilities are Spin Attack. Maul goes into a high-velocity lightsaber spin attack, cutting down enemies in his path as he leaps forward. Chokehold. Maul chokes a few enemies at close range. The choke ends with enemies being thrown to the ground. And his final ability is Furious Throw. Maul hurls his lightsaber straight ahead of him, damaging all enemies it touches. Again, we covered the beta heroes in our beta discussion series. Basically, Darth Maul is extremely overpowered.
I mean, if you think about it, it should be that way. But in video games, stuff is supposed to be balanced, just so the villains don't win every time. Like, Darth Maul is a really good hero. I mean, a really good villain. And I'm not disappointed in that. But when you have underpowered heroes,
it kind of takes the fun out of it.
I'm not thinking about it just for myself, just for overall new players of the game. It's not going to be fun for them to get killed by Maul every time.
So kind of needs to be worked out a little bit. Next, we have a surprise villain, B Extraordinary, Iden Versio. Commander Iden Versio leads the Imperial Special Forces unit Inferno Squad. An expert pilot and soldier, she solves the Empire's problems through unconventional means. Iden Versio's abilities are Droid Shield. Iden's droid creates a protective shield around her. Pulse Cannon fires a long-range charge shots for heavy damage. Stun Droid. Iden's droid stuns an enemy. The stun can chain to nearby enemies. She also uses the TL-50.
Iden Versio is like the Jyn Erso of the villains.
How so?
Just because she's like the strong female lead of the Empire, and then Jyn Erso is like, the
strong female
lead of the Rebellion. And they're actually in the same era and line of Star Wars.
No?
Yeah. She was part of the Inferno Squad before.
Oh, okay.
She was just part of the Empire in general.
I was thinking in the campaign, not of the Battlefront book.
Yeah, but just as a whole. But that's not doesn't relate to the game, to be honest. But
in Battlefront 2 Inferno Squad, she is in the same time frame.
I was like surprised at the same time, not surprised that she was in the game.
I was hoping she'd be in the game. Like we were speculating on previous episodes. Like,
I mean, why wouldn't they add a character that they've already
got abilities for
as a hero in the campaign and not port it over?
That's why I predict that there will be a campaign season, and we will get the campaign maps reworked.
That would be cool.
That's what I would like to see, and that's what I hope to see. Prediction right here. On November 3rd, 2017, Sage predicts that there will be a campaign season. Let's see if I will be right or wrong in the future.
So, I'm really excited about Iden. She has the pulse cannon, which is a fan favorite.
Yeah.
And at the same time, people despise it. It's just cool to see them add the ability, and also she has the TL-50,
also,
which is another controversial.
She's a very controversial character right now. She's got the pulse cannon and the TL-50.
The only thing I see an issue with is the droid. I just don't know how it will work. Like, can you kill it?
I think it'll work like Krennic's droid. And if you don't know, in Battlefront 2015, Krennic had a little buddy droid that would walk around with a shield and Dioxis gas spurting out whenever an enemy got close. I think it would work out like that.
Yeah, so whenever you kill it, it just respawns next use.
What I hope is the case is you use the ability and you can keep on using the ability unless the droid dies, and then it's got a longer cooldown.
That's a good idea. And then we have this kind of personal shield-ish, which, as far as I know, the personal shield's not in Battlefront 2. It possibly will be added, but
it may be in there. I have yet to see it anywhere.
Yeah, but that was personally my favorite star card.
Yeah, we put it in the intro of our podcast.
So all around, she's just like everything good about Battlefront 2015 into a hero, in my opinion. I mean, some people despise the TL-50 as well as pulse cannon, even personal shield. People do not like that whatsoever. They call you a coward if you use it. But me as a player, I think she's everything good about Battlefront 2015 into a villain.
Yeah. The personal shield is pretty self-explanatory. It was a star card in Battlefront 2015. You activated that ability, and you spawned a shield bubble around you. It was out for a limited amount of time, and then had a cooldown. Next, we have Luke Skywalker. Be heroic. The Force is strong with Luke Skywalker. The young Jedi Knight is a guardian of peace and justice in a dark time, and protects the weak with his flashing blade and mastery of the light side. Luke Skywalker's abilities are Rush. Luke enhances his speed and rushes to the attack. Repulse. Luke deals damage to nearby enemies, and Push. Luke pushes enemies away. These are some very, very accurate names.
Repulse. Repulse an enemy. Move an enemy.
His weapon is a lightsaber. His race is human, and his affiliation is Rebel Alliance.
So Luke, I mean, the same feeling with Darth Vader. I like how it's so unique because initially I thought they were just going to completely copy. I mean, Han Solo is extremely similar to previous game, but like 2 new abilities is pretty spectacular. I mean, I would like to see Repulse in action. I have yet to see that. And then I just hope Push is a little better because it acts like the Force is not just like a gust of air. You kind of like manipulate the air particles, and you kind of just not make a little, wave of air that pushes. Yeah, I hope it just has a higher arc that spreads more. In
the Han Solo, or in the Luke Skywalker book, what was it?
Heir to the Jedi?
Heir to the Jedi. The description of the Force is like puzzle pieces. So you focus on the puzzle pieces to move objects with your mind, which is pretty apt in this description.
Luke was like probably the most played hero in Battlefront 2015.
Yeah, he was a huge fan favorite, and I like how they are carrying over the things that was great about Luke, but also getting rid of the things that were bad about Luke.
Also, I like the ability which like buffs his speed. I actually like all of the, you see all of these heroes and villains have abilities to buff their stats rather than, a saber rush. I think that's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
Because the infiltrator ability on specialists buffs his speed. Darth Vader has one that buffs his tankiness and damage output.
Yeah. Very interesting. And after a short break, we will get into the other 7 heroes and villains in Star Wars Battlefront 2 and go over our thoughts and a breakdown of what each hero does.
You're listening to the Star Wars Battlefront Podcast, a podcast from the Tie-Dye Sheep Entertainment Podcast Network, a network dedicated to bringing content as great and as weird as the hosts. If you'd like to support us on Patreon, you can go to patreon.com/battlefrontpodcast. You can donate $1 up to $10, and we have different tiers for that. So if you'd like to support the show and get some exclusive content, because we'll be doing bonus shows there, you can support us through that link. And at $1 per month, you have the ability to come on the podcast if you so desire.
Okay, now we have Emperor Palpatine. Papa Palps himself.
Sheev
Palpatine, the Senate. Your favorite hero or villain, depending on your stance. From a certain point of view, Sheev Palpatine himself, the Senate. Papa Palps, here comes.
Hashtag make Coruscant great again.
Hashtag make Coruscant great again. If Palpatine is elected as the Senate, he will make sure that there are employment everywhere in the galaxy.
There's no election. He is just the Senate.
Yeah,
if the Senate was a being, that's him.
Okay, yeah, there is like no election.
Every ounce just exudes Senate. He is the human personification of the Senate.
Yes. A friend of the podcast, Preston, will enjoy this section of the podcast.
I am the Senate.
I am the Senate. Not
yet.
Be menacing Emperor Palpatine. The sinister ruler of the Galactic Empire is a daunting opponent. The Emperor's mastery of the dark side allows him to wield terrifying powers against the forces of good. Emperor Palpatine's abilities are Chain Lightning. A force lightning strikes a target and then spreads to hit other nearby enemies. Carried over from the Battlefront 2015, he had a similar ability. Dark Aura. The area around the Emperor is charged with the force energy, damaging and slowing foes.
That looks awesome.
This is a completely unique ability among every single hero too.
All the effects in the game it's just so awesome with the lightning.
Yeah, it's like he's extruding darkness.
It's like he's what is it? Is it called a dark cloud? That's what it should
Dark
be called.
Aura.
It should be dark cloud because it looks like he's just spouting lightning.
Yeah,
which actually he is.
And then electrocute. Palpatine immobilizes enemies in front of him with an electrical charge. His weapon is Force Lightning. His race is human, and his affiliation is Galactic Empire.
His race is Gungan.
His race is Gungan.
Correct. So, like, out of all of the villains, I'm most excited to play Palpatine. I kind of want to like go after Palpatine and start maining him as a villain. I mean, personally, I'm kind of disappointed that he doesn't have an ability that whips out a lightsaber. I was so hoping for that.
I was expecting it. I was like, are they going to do it? Are they going to do it?
That's such a genius idea.
I would love to see like just maybe just a
little charge like he does.
Yeah, a charge, and he whips out his lightsaber.
He has a lightsaber only that time.
I would have loved to see that, but they did not go. They went the whole. They went original trilogy Palpatine.
Yeah, because he has no lightsaber whatsoever, which staying true because, I mean, I like prequel trilogy Palpatine. He's like,
and this is Emperor Palpatine. It's not
Emperor.
Senate Palpatine.
A common mistake.
Yeah, he's the Emperor. So he has merged his Senate-ness and then transformed that into the ultimate power of the galaxy.
The Empire.
Yes, exactly.
He turned from the Senate to the Empire. So I like the lightning effect, but it's kind of overboard with it. I mean, he does have to have some kind of offensive strike.
He does. It's just Force Lightning.
I do wish that he had a dash. To get out of
because that would really help his mobility.
Yeah, because lightning, you need to close the gap. And I guarantee he's going to be slow because he's got that walk. He's got the Senate walk.
Yeah.
So it's going to be hard to close the gap. He might just be the close quarters kind of villain because there are going to be those types. Because you don't want to play Boba Fett in an enclosed area.
There are going to be, in Battlefront 2, there are going to be heroes for different occasions.
Which makes strategy more fun.
Yeah. I'm really excited to see Emperor Palpatine. I'm hoping that his focus on lightning is a plus and not a downgrade. I was really hoping that they'd have a lightsaber, but
I have seen gameplay of Palpatine, but I didn't pay attention, and I just had this thought now about his lightning charge. He had a certain amount of energy that he could use in lightning, and it had to recharge.
Yeah.
Is that still carried over?
I believe so. Like, you use the right trigger to fire electricity as your main weapon, and then you have these abilities.
Yeah. So I'm curious to just try out Palpatine and see his taunts. I am the Senate.
I hope that they add that.
They should, or even add a emote for clones that says I am the Senate.
Yes, I would love that. Our next villain is Be Ruthless, Bosk. The savage bounty hunter isn't fighting for causes and principles. He's here to get paid. Bosk's weapon is the Rebel V10, carried over from Battlefront 2015.
Nice weapon.
It's a very effective weapon.
It was also extremely unique to Battlefront 2015. Just, trigger equals one blaster bolt fired.
Yeah,
it takes skill to use.
Yes. It was very sniper-like. Bosk's abilities are Dioxys Grenade, a grenade that releases a cloud of poison gas. Predator Instinct. Bosk gains heat vision and enhanced strength as he loads high damage micro grenades. So that's carried over as well. And then Proximity Mines. These 3 sticky mines detonate on command.
Interesting. So starting with the Dioxys Grenade, I mean, it was in the previous one. I don't think it's going to be a leap now, is it? It was a Dioxys Escape.
I don't think it will be a leap.
So interesting to see that. And then the second ability is like the merging of all of his previous Battlefront abilities. So technically he has everything from 2015 Battlefront. Because it gives
more.
him the Predator, gives all the heat vision and tracks everyone's heat trace. And then it has micro grenades on top of that, which is awesome.
It's a good way to add 2 abilities from Battlefront 2015.
Really smart. And his third ability, I mean, from what I just heard, it sounds kind of like Dengar's rush of grenades. Like, not that he'll run and place them, but it sounds similar.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see how that works as well. I did watch the trailer, but I'd like to test it out myself.
It'll make playing the heroes, playing Bosk, definitely strategic because you're going to be wanting to prepare for the onslaught of enemies by placing those proximity mines, while also once they get there and get past your proximity mines, you're going to want to do the Dioxys Grenade. And then finally, if they do get past the Dioxys Grenade, you'll be using your Predator Instincts.
I'm not sure if they're going to add traits eventually, but they won't.
Traits will be in the place of star cards.
I'm talking about so we will have like a Trandoshan regeneration effect for Bosk.
I would be surprised if they didn't, because that was a huge part of Battlefront 2015. So he may have star cards that you can earn that give him that ability of regeneration.
That would be a real throwback as well.
Yeah. Next we have the greatest hero or villain, depending on who's paying.
Who's paying?
Who's paying? Hashtag Boba's great again. Be dangerous, Boba Fett. Few are more feared than the mysterious, intimidating Boba Fett, one of the galaxy's most accomplished warriors.
I thought you were going to say Leia.
Leia's always on the good side. And she won't change her position by
like
pay.
Whose point of view is looking at.
Oh. Depending on who's paying.
I just thought that was a neat way to say whose point of view.
Boba Fett uses a Blast Tech EE3. His abilities are For the Hunt. Boba Fett disappears from enemy radar, gains unlimited jetpack fuel, and acquires insight into the location of nearby foes. So they have buffed that ability.
Nice.
So in the beta, his jetpack ability was kind of meh. It was a glorified scanner.
Oh yeah, that sucked. I forgot about it. It was so bad.
But now that has been transformed into For the Hunt, which is Boba Fett disappears from enemy radars. It's pretty good.
That is really awesome.
It's pretty good right there.
Especially with the infinite jetpack fuel.
Unlimited jetpack fuel. So that's going to be useful in close quarter situations with the bigger rooms, like on Theed. And then he also acquires insight into the location of nearby foes. So kind of like Rey's foresight.
That's actually a really good combination.
And that's just one ability.
Yeah.
The next is Concussion Rocket. Boba Fett fires a single concussion rocket that dazes enemies, and then Rocket Barrage, small rockets launch from Boba Fett's wrists. So,
not much to talk about there because
they've definitely made it better than in the beta.
This is a complete surprise. I thought they would just kind of leave him the same.
They did exactly what you said: is get rid of an ability and then just make it better.
I just thought, not that the developers are lazy, not at all. Just like when you establish an ability as being there, it's really time consuming and difficult to just change it completely.
Yeah, you're throwing out all of the work that you've done, and the developers are some of the hardest working people out there. Like, they're spending hours upon hours upon hours. Like, Guillaume Raz worked on Yoda on his birthday and, like, at home. Like, that is dedication and hard work there. Which leads perfectly into our next hero, Be Masterful Yoda. Yoda is an expert at turning defense into attack, using the Force to absorb blaster fire, heal his wounds, and protect him from harm while using his lightsaber to inflict damage. The gameplay for Yoda is pretty sick.
So, as we speculated, it was either he's going to be like Force-based or lightsaber-based mainly. Seems like it's a good balance.
Yeah. So, his abilities are... Dash attack, Yoda leaps forward and deals damage as he swings his lightsaber. I think it's mostly going to be used, we've yet to see how it will be used, but I personally think it'll be used as a way to get around the map faster, because he definitely seems slow.
As well as close the gap.
And you can't make it, with Yoda's size and the hitbox of it, you can't make him faster or else he's just going to be invincible. Like, you will not be able to kill him at all. His second ability is Unleash. Yoda unleashes the Force in an area in front of him, damaging and pushing foes. So it's kind of like a moving shield, so it damages and also pushes enemies back, which is pretty interesting, very unique. And then Presence. Yoda heals himself and nearby ally. So maybe they may be focusing on a kind of support hero.
Yeah, because we need more of those. I mean, even the officer is not really support based, because it just doesn't give you that drive to. And a support based hero for me or character
has to be very balanced.
Yeah, it has to be focused on supporting, not just having one ability that does a little bit.
An officer is your favorite class, so you saying this is interesting.
Because he has that one ability that does help his team in certain situations, and it's actually pretty good. But maybe just make, I know that I'm going on a tangent, but make officer have another support.
They may in the form of star cards.
Yeah, so we'll see. And I actually think Yoda would actually make a good healer and support hero.
Yeah, since he is that master. Funny, the race of Yoda is a mystery still.
Question mark, question mark, question mark.
Yes, his affiliation is Jedi. Kylo Ren is our next villain. Be brutal. Kylo Ren knows the raw power of evil and commands the dark side of the Force with a rage worthy of his grandfather, Darth Vader. I will finish what you started. Kylo Ren's abilities are Frenzy. Kylo Ren leaps from enemy to enemy, attacking with his blade. Freeze. Kylo Ren immobilizes enemies in front of him. And Pull. Kylo Ren pulls enemies close to him.
Interesting.
The Battlefront community is so hyped for Kylo Ren.
He seems extremely overpowered so far.
The combo that he used in the reveal gameplay was freeze first, freezes all the enemies, and then frenzy. Kylo Ren leapt from enemy to enemy, attacking them. Like, it was a super good efficient combo.
And I like to see that on heroes and villains, having moves that link into other moves
and complement each other.
The only critique that I have on Kylo Ren is, I mean, I know they're gonna add the skin where he has his helmet on.
Yeah, that's the base skin. Yeah,
but he's so ugly without the helmet.
You talking about the game or
not
the movie?
The graphics? It's kind of like helmetless stormtroopers to me.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the direction they're going with The Last Jedi, where they're keeping his helmet off and like just destroying it.
Yeah, I know they're trying to connect you as a person to him, but did you connect to Darth Vader?
Yeah.
Just like he's
so
just
awesome.
A mask.
He was an enigma. Next we have Kylo Ren's mother, Leia. Leia has a concussion grenade, which is a concussion grenade that once you throw it, it detonates around a certain radius. Next is Rapid Fire, very similar to Battlefront 2015's ability, to where you activate this, you pull out a EE3?
E11.
Yeah, so very similar to Battlefront 2015, Leia pulls out a E11. Her main weapon is not an E11.
Interesting.
In Battlefront 2. Let's see. I do not have the weapon that she uses, but it looks similar to a Stinger pistol, but it is not a Stinger pistol. It is another weapon that I'm blanking on the name of.
Is it the weapon that she used in Episode 4, A New Hope, when she blasted those troopers?
I believe so. I think that's the direction that they're going, because it looks very similarly to that. Very interesting that they're switching out her weapons to reflect more on the first movie. I'm very curious to see how that will affect the gameplay and what kind of style of hero she will be, because from the gameplay it seems more like a strategic character, which I'm a big fan of.
Let's move on to the last ability, Sage.
Squad Shield, carried over from Battlefront 2015. I think it's interesting to see that, or I like to see that they are carrying over at least one ability from Battlefront 2015 for every hero that was in that game.
Yeah, the Squad Shield is just like, first off, an awesome ability. Just, it helps your team as a whole and also looks awesome, and it's kind of
very effective.
Kind of even nostalgic from the Battlefront 2015.
Yeah. It's going to be really fun and effective to use on game modes with objectives that you can capture. Just place that, and it's a great way to protect that capture point. Next, we have, hello, what have we here? Lando. The gambler, the scoundrel, and the businessman. Smoke grenade. His abilities are the smoke grenade. Lando throws out a smoke grenade, giving you the ability to destroy your enemies from the shadows. Disabler. Lando shoots out a shock blast that disables his enemies. And Sharp Shot. I could not find any description on what Sharp Shot does anywhere. Like even in his gameplay trailer, it's just him loading his weapon. It doesn't show him actually using it.
Just from hearing it,
it sounds.
I guess it's gonna just mimic the charge shot.
What I think it will do, because it's used in conjunction with the Disabler, is it may target each of the enemies you're facing and then fire a charge shot at them.
Yeah, so he's like kind of the troll class even.
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest fan of grenades that don't really do damage per se. So we'll see. I just hope he can see through the smoke with using, obviously, his weapon.
His weapon being the...
It'd be cool if he's just like immune to all smoke and could see through it.
That'd be awesome. What's his weapon?
The Night Sniper.
The X8 Night Sniper. So he uses the X8 Night Sniper's ability of night vision to see through the smoke and fire at enemies.
Which is awesome.
Again, carrying over something from Battlefront 2015. That is all of the heroes that will be included in Battlefront 2. Rey, Darth Vader, Chewbacca, Han Solo, Iden Versio, Darth Maul, Luke Skywalker, Palpatine, Bossk, Boba Fett, Yoda, Kylo Ren, Leia, and Lando.
Which is
14 heroes.
As much as we got at the end of Battlefront 2015.
Yes, it's the same amount of heroes
at launch
as Battlefront 2015 had at the end of its life. A huge roster of heroes just at launch, and then a month after we get Star Wars Battlefront 2,
there'll be 16.
They will be 16 with the Last Jedi season with Finn and Phasma.
And even more on the way.
So, very interested and hopeful to see the heroes and villains that will be added. I'm hoping for a Coruscant DLC with Obi-Wan.
It's over, Anakin! I have the high ground!
And General Grievous. Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Would be awesome.
Yeah. So those are the heroes I'm most excited to see. But we've got 14 heroes at launch. Very, very hopeful for that. We are at recording 11 days from Battlefront 2. Insane. When Battlefront 2 launches, we'll be doing daily episodes of the podcast, so 10 to 20 minute episodes each day, catching you up on every detail included in Star Wars Battlefront 2. That's all for this episode of the Star Wars Battlefront podcast. You can find us on Twitter at SWB Podcast, twitter.com/SWB Podcast. There will be a link in the description for our giveaway. Definitely try and enter that. Patreon, we have a Patreon, and as soon as Battlefront 2 launches, we will be launching our exclusive Patreon show, giving you even more content on Battlefront 2. Great way to support us. We just got a new Patreon supporter, Bindu Monk, I believe. Thank you so much for supporting our podcast. You can also support us through PayPal, paypal.me/tie-sheep, TYEDYESHEEP. Most popular way to support us is through PayPal. Give us whatever you feel we deserve through doing this podcast. And if you have any ways you would like us to improve the podcast, please let us know. You can contact us through our Twitter or our email, battlefrontpodcast@gmail.com. If you have not yet joined our Discord, please give that a try. Link will be in the description. It is a super, super fun place that is always evolving to give you a great place to talk about Star Wars Battlefront 2 and connect with other listeners of the podcast and fans of Star Wars Battlefront. You can, if you would like to support us in a way that just costs you nothing at all, you can leave us a review on iTunes. Be so helpful if you do that. Leave feedback, give your thoughts there, say your favorite hero, or say what you're most excited for Battlefront 2. We will read it, and it would help us out greatly. We have a YouTube channel, the Star Wars Battlefront Podcast. If you search that on YouTube, our podcast will come up. We're trying to get to the 200 subscriber mark right now. We're super, super close. You can listen to the show on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. As always,
Thanks for listening.
and may the Force be with you. I will finish what you started.